this time.
Yep.
It's basically insert episode.
That one.
That's going to become our intro right away.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Even if we got a slate, insert episode.
That one. Exactly.
That's that should be it from now on. That's it.
It's gonna be it, huh?
We're running with it.
Exactly.
Insert episode.
Exactly. Are we on? Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. And then you like that fake feedback.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Hello. Poo, 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 poo.
Is this thing on?
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, nigga, we're right here. We're 5 foot away from.
Yeah, that's right. We see it, man. That's right. Yeah. For our viewers in Harlem, we understand what's going down. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Jack.
Yeah.
A little bit of Richard Pryor. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, all right, here we go. Welcome to this episode of the Phoenix Podcast, folks. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're talking about
Procrastination.
Procrastination.
And I had to say that very carefully because you know where my people come from.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the LR situation, so it has to be procrastination.
Yeah, you need to enunciate. You need to get all the vowels in there.
I'm telling you, yeah. But then again, it's a problem. It's a problem because it kind of reflects where your mind is at. Because you find that when you're going through lots of things, when you're just not right, when you're undergoing a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, that's when you decide, maybe tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes another tomorrow,
right?
And then you end up getting nothing done. You know?
Yeah, it's a killer,
Yeah.
And the thing is, the more you procrastinate, and the more you sink, into it, deeper into it. Well, I might as well because I'm 6 feet deep anyway. So what am I gonna do? Just crawl dig myself out, and you end up in a situation where there's so much piled on.
Yeah.
You can't really see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to
the
speak.
taxman doesn't want to know that story.
Right.
The power company doesn't want to know that story.
Nope.
The bill is still going to be coming.
Nope. That's right. Yes.
Rent's still due.
That's right.
And it's not like by postponing the problem, it's going to go away.
Yeah,
it's just
gonna pile on. You know, it's just gonna pile on. So all you need to do is, for instance, procrastination is, as we call it, the P word. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the P word.
P word, huh?
And you got to get into a situation where it's either you, especially in the creative sector, right? You got to be able to self-motivate.
Of course.
Right? Because there's nobody behind you to say, hey, listen, you got to get up, you got to do this, you got to do that. Of course, if you want a project, you got a job to do. There are certain obligations that you can't circumvent.
Deadlines.
Right? Deadlines, right?
Yeah.
And obligations to fulfill. So you kind of get into a routine where if you're shooting a series or a feature or documentary or whatnot, you are on that schedule. But now when it comes to let's say off-peak season, and you're basically left to your own device to get certain things done to keep the ball rolling, so to speak. Now this is where it becomes very important to be able to motivate yourself to get up in the morning, do something.
It's very interesting because when you're doing a series or you're shooting a movie or something, even a commercial, whatever, and your call time is at, let's say, 6:30 or 7 a.m.
Right.
And you're up at 4:30 and you're all set and everything and you're on set, boom, whatever. Then when it's just like normal life, like a meeting,
right?
Say with you,
right?
at maybe 10 a.m.
Yeah, maybe. Let's just throw a number out there.
Random number. Yeah. Why is it that the person you're supposed to be meeting at 10 a.m. rocks up at 10:15?
Yeah.
And they're creative, by the way. They're professional in the creative industry.
Right.
They'll make call time, but they'll delay for the meeting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just again, it's just like a practice, right? You develop certain habits, and you're like, it's fine. Just a couple of minutes late. And in the business, we always say if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. That's true.
so if you got to be there, if your call time is 10 o'clock, you got to be there. At least. I mean, not at
10 minutes
least, but
earlier.
yeah,
Yeah,
the latest.
yeah,
I would say 15, like 9:45.
yeah.
That means if you're, for instance, if you in a hot climate type of situation,
Mm.
and you're on public transportation, and once you disembark or alight,
Mm-hmm.
as we say here,
Mm-hmm.
you got to walk to the site.
Yes.
Now, all of a sudden, let's say you're wearing your stage clothes, right, or your performance clothes,
Yeah.
which normally you don't do that. But let's say you that's the situation.
Yes. Yes.
Now you showing up all sweaty, pits
Mhm.
all freaking sweaty. If you're wearing white shirt,
Mhm.
your pits are swimming. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you show up, and then okay, it's call time. It's 10 o'clock, and then okay, well, stand by. Then now you got to go to the bathroom. You got to dry your shit off.
Not to
you
mention
gotta-
that you have COVID-19
Hey, exactly.
to deal with.
So then what do you do? So as a rule, yeah, you gotta try to be like 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
And again, that falls into the category like procrastination, and then chronic lateness, if for lack of a better term. So then you get into that situation where, if I'm late 5 minutes or 15 minutes, it's not a big issue.
So then why do we live as if we are promised tomorrow and we're not?
Well said right there. Let's unpack that.
Mm.
Because we're not wise enough to realize that we are but mere mortals. Tomorrow's not given,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you think, nah, I'll do it tomorrow. But yeah,
Tomorrow never comes.
nobody told you exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody told you going to be there tomorrow. It's a promise that you can't make. Yeah, well, you can plan to be there tomorrow,
Yes.
but you can't promise me you're going
Yes,
to be there
yes.
tomorrow with absolute certainty.
Because they say the man proposes, God disposes.
God disposes.
Exactly.
Amen to that.
So, so that means that when you find yourself in a state of constant procrastination, something isn't right with you from a mental perspective.
From the mental perspective, yeah, absolutely. And again, it all comes around to that, right? To the mental, certain mental barriers, certain also certain situations where you develop an MO,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whereby now that becomes your thing, because it becomes almost part of you. So you figure, well, hey, what? It doesn't really matter. There are no consequences.
Oh, but they are.
All right, yeah, no, there are,
Hey,
but
late
there
fees,
are
penalties,
there are no
yeah.
immediate in certain situations. There are no immediate consequences because you're just late. For instance, to meet a friend, even if it's just for coffee, right? Of course, it's less mission critical than, let's say, if you want to catch a flight, to anywhere.
Yeah, and the train.
The
And,
train,
you miss the connecting flight. It's a whole domino effect. Boom, 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 boom,
Exactly,
boom.
right.
Yeah.
So your doctor's appointment. Well, that's a bad example maybe, because usually doctors, they make you wait anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Actually, why is that so?
Because they can, because they're the only caterers in town. They
I'm not complaining. I mean, they're taking time with the patient, and
Right.
because when you want to see a doctor, like here in Nairobi, for instance, you want to see a doctor at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
Truly speaking, Kiro Hosafi,
Yeah.
budget the whole day.
Got you.
Just budget the whole day.
Because you're gonna end up wasting a lot of time
Because 9 is
just
gonna be
waiting.
3.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, for them, I guess it's in a lot of ways it's mission critical, because if they're with a patient and then they have to explain certain things and they have to do certain things that not always, but a life and death situation might arise where they have to deal with it, but also they have to be there's bedside
manner, yeah.
manners, and just to be sensitive to your patient's needs, not to just rush them out the door. To usher in the next client who's going to put money into your pocket.
Which is what they do. I find actually the doctors this side of the world
Right.
spend more quality time with their patients than like even
In the States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
It was like an assembly. It was like
an assembly line. Yeah. Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, Because
got
you go
5
in,
minutes.
you get your tests done, whatever, in that room.
Right.
You come see the doctor, all of what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you shoo. It was like, what?
Yeah.
Here there's like, yes, so how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are the chickens?
Yeah, how's the shamba?
Exactly, all those things there. And they seem to amount to something.
Right.
Yeah, because the doctor sees you as an individual.
Absolutely.
Not just insurance number, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Is
Yeah.
he or is she covered?
Yeah.
But yeah, for real. I mean, in America or actually America really, because the rest of the developing world has excellent healthcare.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
especially in Europe, impeccable.
Yes.
But because it's treated as a business, not as so much of a calling, or not so much of a care facility, right? It's basically a business. It's always about the bottom line.
And you have to pay back your loan, your college loan.
Exactly.
Which is hideous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in that respect, until that's changed, and still until there's a single payer system, that problem is always going to exist. Which is why the Affordable Healthcare Act, the Obamacare, was, it was leaning towards that. It was like, oh no, we can't have that. It's socialism. It's what?
Canada.
Well, Canada has excellent, right? But is it because, first of all, socialism, they treat it as it's like a dirty word.
I know.
Because every even the most like democratic place in the world have some sort of social program.
Yes.
So what's wrong with, like, especially something like healthcare or education? That should be basically a socialist thing, where it's a social program.
Yes, but see,
that allows everybody.
It has connotations with communism.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Which, there you go. So they should make the distinction and say socialism. Get a little closer on the mic, though.
Okay,
Pull the mic closer. Or you can lean back, but pull it closer to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So they should make the distinction and say, socialism has nothing to do with communism. Communism is one thing. Socialism is a component of communism.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if they understand that, they understand. Well, there are some good things that could happen. For instance, Cuba.
Oh yeah, Cuba.
They have one of the best
Healthcare
healthcare,
systems.
and then there were some actually Cuban doctors
in Kenya.
here.
Yes, of course, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for them, it's a no-brainer. But the so-called most developed nation in the world just can't get it.
Because of the S word.
That's right.
Yeah.
The S word.
Yeah. I mean, poor Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
Anytime he wants to say something, they say socialist.
Yeah, exactly.
But he makes no
he
bones
makes no
about it.
qualm about
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
because and again, he understands the distinction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Socialism is it's not a bad word.
Yes.
And it's not a bad concept to adopt. Even you look at for instance, a place like Sweden, right? Education. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yes.
it's free.
Yeah, Scandinavian countries actually. Yeah.
Medicare. Boom, free.
But also, you have to realize that they don't have as large a population. I mean, there's 330 million people,
Right.
as opposed to 4 million people, 5 million people.
But that doesn't mean anything, Chris. If you think about it, the bigger the bigger the demo, the bigger the pot. So the more you can dip into that. To why is America spending like trillions and trillions of dollars into the military and not focusing on healthcare? If they put an iota of that amount onto healthcare and education, America would be the greatest place. One of the greatest places on earth.
Not really healthcare, but they do spend quite a bit on big pharma.
Well, again, big pharma is not about healthcare. It's about maintenance. Remember what we talked about? It's to get you well enough, because they're not in it to cure anybody.
The first hit is always free.
Yes, they don't create exactly. They don't create. There are no cures being worked on. Okay, they work on it's like health management.
Yeah.
Okay, to get you well enough so you can go to your crappy job, to make enough money to buy more crappy food, so you can get sick, so you can go back to the doctor who can prescribe to you some bullshit medication, send you to the pharmacist, get some bullshit medication that he gets from Big Pharma, and then this is the whole cycle. Hey, you guys, don't come after me.
No,
all right?
no.
I'm telling it like
Look,
it is.
What does the card say? It says who's your HMO provider? Health Management
There you go. Right?
Organization provider, right?
Organization.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Mm.
They just manage.
Yeah.
They're not in it to cure anybody. Well, if they cure you, where would their money come from?
Exactly. Which is kind of diabolical
It is. It is. So
because
it's about the bottom line.
possibly by now there probably is a cure for cancer, a cure for
AIDS.
HIV,
Yep.
possibly even maybe a cure for COVID-19.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
And even for instance, malaria.
Mm.
When was the last case diagnosed in the Americas of
Mhm,
malaria?
mhm, mhm.
Practically non-existent.
Yeah.
Polio, Ebola.
Mhm,
Unless
mhm,
it's
mhm, mhm.
from the continent,
Mhm.
they don't really. Yeah, because there's no money in it. Who's gonna?
So it's like if we know something is bad for us,
Mm.
like chocolate cake.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you, brother.
No, but if we know something is bad for us,
Right.
then why do we knowingly indulge? Because if we know that procrastinating will not solve the issue,
right.
it will not, the issue is not going to go away. Why do we constantly find ourselves procrastinating? Because it's something that is natural.
Yeah, it's almost universal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are on the planet, which country you're in, which continent.
Mm.
It's something that's always there. And when you look at it, right, even it's something we learned like very early on. For instance, when you were in high school or even before that in grade school. I think here it's like primary, right?
Yeah.
You
Do your homework before you go to play.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
learn,
yeah.
but you end up like delaying.
Yeah.
You end up like basically delaying doing things that are so important to you. But for instance, you cram
Yes.
before an exam at the last minute,
Exactly, yeah.
and that stays with you, and then you kind of like, hey, this is the way it is, and that's the way it is. Everybody's doing it,
Because
so you figure it's normal.
I remember somebody said, actually, what is interesting is in school is that the students who would, every night, whatever they learned,
Right.
they went over it, whatever it was. When it came to exams, it was like a walk up because they were like fresh, every night,
Mhm.
as opposed to those who used to cram just for the examinations the night before. And also, by the way, even when you're given homework for the weekend,
Right.
you're given the homework on a Friday.
Yeah.
You have Friday, you've got Saturday,
Saturday.
but Sunday night, there you are, 9
That's
p.m.
when. Yep.
What? Or in some cases, Monday morning,
Right.
thanks to Sagwa. Hey, dude.
Yeah. Poor Sagwa.
The dubbing files.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that. Nothing. I plead the
Well,
fifth, in fact.
If any of your old teachers are watching right now, yeah, now they know.
Oh, now they know. Oh, yes. It was Sagwa's fault. He made me do it.
Yeah, he did. He made me copy his notes.
No, actually, when you put so much emphasis on education on a society like in Kenya, I mean, like, have you seen today's headlines?
No, I haven't checked.
Oh man,
Tell me.
kids are not ready for examinations.
Whoa.
They're saying that kids are basically primed to flop.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that basically that whole year last year is
it
a
was
write-off.
exactly, it's a write-off. But they're not accepting the fact that they've lost a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
They are trying to just push the kids onto the next stage because basically the new system has to work education-wise and all that kind of thing.
Right.
And you're gonna get half big kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a whole, I would say generation, but there's a whole class of
The ones
that's
who,
basically going to be a year behind.
the ones who are meant to do standard 8 examinations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole hue and cry. It's all the papers today are like kids set to fail.
Wow.
Yeah. All the papers, which is kind of crazy.
So what's the solution then?
Well, you're gonna have to bite the bullet. You're gonna have to accept the fact that they lost a whole year.
Mm.
So maybe some of them are gonna have to be held back, which is gonna be a bit insane because the system is not set up for that.
That's right.
And then remember, what's interesting is that kids who have been homeschooled seem to be doing better than kids who are actually in institutionalized education,
Right.
which is interesting because the ones in school are following a curriculum. The ones at home also following a curriculum, but it's not as stringent. I mean, it's like, but mom, dad knows when it's time to play, time to have lunch, whatever it is.
Right.
The only thing that they are lacking in